Doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. So, how do the Dogs make the top 8 in 2023, where it's all at? There's lots of reasons. I was very cautious at first, but I think the Dogs have got the recipe to success right. There should be no excuses. I've really dissected the team and how it should appear, and there's lots of positives, not just with the big names, but just in positional play. A couple of things they've done off the field with obviously Serrano brings a lot of hope, but I think fitness is where it's all going to be at, and that'll help our forwards, which really need that in order to dominate. It was with no surprise that we improved last year with a bit more in our spine, a little bit more in our forward pack as far as experience and performance went, with Paul Vaughan, Max King and Tavita. Even though he wasn't as good as they thought he could have been, his his offloads and a bit of X factor at times was welcome to the Bulldogs side. Now, the other points which brought us a little bit of success towards the end was obviously that the left edge was quite stable for the majority of the year. That helped us a lot, and bringing Jake Averillo to fullback and a lot of players into the positions which suited them and suited the balance of the team. The rise of Jacob Carraz and his determination, and just a bit of pressure coming from other players in the club, even though there were a lot of injuries. The players like Declan Casey showed that they're going to have NRL careers with the tenacity and determination that he came back with after that horrible game in the wet against the Sharks. Now, how are we going to do it? So for our forwards, hiring Travis Tamana, sorry, I forgot his name wrong, I'm doing this off the cuff, but he is a proven fitness coach. A fitness coach only has to be 1 or 2% better than the other fitness coach in order to get that extra bit out, which is all the team needs. But he's proven to have done that successfully at numerous clubs which compete for 80 minutes. Whether they've got injuries or quality out of their team will often count as well in the big games, but when they can play for 80 minutes consistently due to their fitness, it really helps, and that's going to help our middles. We'll see a middle rotation, I believe, of obviously at least one prop on the bench, and the experienced props that'll control that middle, the lock position and the two front rowers will be Thompson, King, Ryan Sutton and Tavita Pangai Jr. They will share the major responsibilities in the middle. I believe that they will carry another middle player, predominantly as a bench impact player, and that would be Pele or Patolo to start. Others could be down the track, a few of the younger guys who are coming through, Jaden Tanner, Sam Hughes and the like. They'll probably get an opportunity with injuries and such, but we will see. I think they'll start with playing a rotation of 3 edge players. That would be obviously Viliami Kikau and Raymond Fatala-Mariner are first picked. I don't know if Big Ray will start though, because he can play left and right. Well, we're hoping he can play right anyway. He definitely can play left, but that's where Kikau will be, and he will dictate what happens from the rest of whether he needs a rest or whatever. I think Davey and Waddell and Tapine, Davey and Tapine, specialist right edges. They will obviously, there'll be contingency there, who gets the spot first, and then they will have much more stability and contingency plan in place. There will be a plan C, a plan D and a plan E for the Bulldogs. Everyone will know where they fit in and where they go. I'm sure there'll be a lot less conjecture about what's going to happen week to week, a lot less chopping and changing. I think they will run with a stable side. Everyone will know who's playing left, everyone will know who's playing right. They'll train that way. They have been training that way. They're training for contingency as well, people in different positions. But when they get there in round 1, you will see that left edge stable as hell. If a player comes out, they'll already know who's coming in next out of 1 or 2 or 3 players who will all be playing on the same edge. Stability is the key. Stability is the key to the success. Now that left edge in attack is potent. it is one of the best on paper that I've seen across all the sides. When you have Burton, you have the Fox, you have Kickow on that left edge, you are looking at good times, baby. I just like saying that. Bit of a nerd, I know, but anyway, we go on. Jake Averillo, or whoever that fullback is, they're obviously going to need to come into the side. They're going to have to chime in on that left edge and do their job. We'll talk about the fullback role in a moment. But with Kickow there running lots of decoys, attracting defenders, and his ball playing ability as well, his offload ability. The fact that at Penrith he was just allowed to be an edge back rower that could play ball and do whatever he wanted. That's what we need to see at the Bulldogs. We can't have our edge having to cover and play middle as well, having to do too much defence, because it just negates their ability in attack. They need to be able to stay on that edge and just chime in with their runs off the back of good middle play, and to come in and do their job and have impact every time they tackle, every time they run the footy, every time they pass the ball. It all has to be about impact off the edge, and that's what we will see, and I'm very confident it's going to carry us way up the ladder into the top 8 in 2023. Now, for that to happen, that middle has obviously got to get fitter, got to win that wrestle, and that's going to not happen overnight, I don't believe. It is going to be a work in progress. It was a big improvement for us in 2022. Kept us in a lot of games. That fitness will take us further. It is a loss at losing Paul Vaughan, but I think while many people don't like him off the field, as far as fans go, you have to look at it constructively. He was one of our best, and one of the VB hard-earned best players in the comp, or best forwards. People still won't agree. They'll argue the facts on that. So that's pretty much summing it up. The halves, I think they're stable. I think they know what they've got to do. They'll do their job. Flanagan hopefully going to get hit in the back a little bit more as he's passing the ball. His engagements were important, but he did some good stuff. Quick play the balls, better ball from Marnie. Quicker ball to give him that extra time is going to be absolutely dependent on his ability as well. But you'll find Flanagan will have a good season doing his job, no matter who's coming in next year or what the speculation is. Barring injury, I think he's going to do a very, very good job outside Burton, who's going to be way better for the run last year. He's got really good kick. We all know what Burton can do, and the fact that Marnie and Burton can turn poor sets into good ones just with their kicks, and that's just X factor we haven't enjoyed and haven't had, and we've actually really badly needed in order to progress and get up the ladder a little bit. Final points being the fullback role. Now, a lot of talk is about this fullback role as such, and looking at Jake Averillo, Hayes Perham, Jacob Carraz and Declan Casey. The good thing is that those players all have the physique and have the ability to develop their games to do the work. Now, I have no doubt Jacob Carraz could be thrown straight in there and do the work, and the same with Declan Casey. Jake Averillo, I believe, has got the more skill and talent of all of them. His ability to run and keep speed while changing direction, his hip movement, his deception with the dummy. He's going to get more time running through that this year. What it's going to come down to for Jake Averillo, though, and his future in the Bulldogs, I believe, obviously not getting injured is going to help, but it's his to mature a little bit. Great players of the past, just who were in centres and played a bit of spine as well. Justin Hodges, Greg Inglis and the like. Players like that who made the progression. It didn't happen overnight, especially into the fullback role. They weren't dominant players. They were players that were, got given the ball and used their speed and their attributes to good measure. But it took them a while to become dominant. Once Justin Hodges become a leader in a side, you just notice he just get into dummy half and do all the hard work type stuff that a lot of fullbacks do these days. I don't really necessarily like Justin Hodges, but that was just stuff that he did in his game. And Jacob Carraz, in his first season, in his first 40 minutes, showed that he's a player that just came out there and did that. He did that straight away. He took control of his own destiny. He got the ball. And that's what fans, I think, doubt about Averillo, is that he hasn't really done that in games. He hasn't just injected himself outside of his position or what he's supposed to do. He's done some marvellous things, and a lot of us believe in him, especially me. But at the end of the day, what we need from Jake Averillo is to probably take his maturity, is to mature a little bit, and to look at what the players like Tedesco and Edwards and some of those players of the past, the responsibility they took from that in that fullback role, or whether they're at fullback or at centre, it did not matter. And to actually demand that ball, to help the side out of trouble, to do the work, to do the hard stuff, to show that determination. And because there's players in that side now, Declan Casey, Jacob Carraz, I'm not sure about Perham, we'll see about him. But I'm sure that'll be the goal, where they just get in there and do a really take over, believe in themselves, and do that job from dummy half. There's so much work that's got to be done from that position to help Canterbury be a force. So whoever's at fullback for the Dogs in 23 is going to help take us a long way in that competition. I've no doubt about that. Their work ethic is going to be instrumental. And I'm not even worrying about Crichton. The best thing for Stephen Crichton, if he comes in 2024 like he's supposed to, and it's all been signed and done, the best thing for him is to be coming into a side where he has to actually compete for the fullback spot, because that would mean we've had a great season, everyone's done their job, and that's exactly what I'm expecting and hoping for. And that's where it's at. So that's my thoughts, guys. 12 minutes on how the Dogs can improve and get into the top 8 this year, the stuff they've got to do. It's all going to come down to their fitness, which their desire. I know they're all big buzzwords, but becoming that that really gelled unit, cohesive unit like we see in other sides, that's what's going to take them a long way in the competition. To be able to play 80 minutes with their fitness, to dominate that ruck, and the fact that they've just got so much talent on that left edge. But the last final thing that I'm going to say is that the fact that everyone seems to be in their positions. People are going to play in the positions they want to play in for 2023, it seems, and that's going to take our team a long way to being that cohesive unit. And if there is an injury, or if there is some bad form, what we will see is players come in not as an afterthought, but ready and prepared to go into a left edge position or a right edge position as far as defence goes, to join the spine. They'll all know what their role is and where they're supposed to come in. And I think that's where we've suffered in a few years. There's been too much guesswork from the coaching staff. I think there'll be a lot less guesswork this time, a lot less changes on the run, and a really stable, cohesive team that'll take us to the finals in 2023. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Some people will say I'm dreaming, but I reckon I know what I'm talking about. So let's go. Let's talk.